I think everybody needs to know this is our 44th year in existence. The Simon Wiesenthal Center does not endorse any candidates. So this has nothing to do with the current political crazy climate between the two candidates. But our main responsibility here is as protectors of memory and to make sure in the new century that especially young people understand what Nazism was, what who Hitler was, who Goebbels was, what happened in the Holocaust, and we see from all of the polls that are taking place that younger generations have very little clue. This ad, this ad, okay, this ad basically accuses Donald Trump of being a Hitler-like figure. And frankly, by extension, it also puts his supporters, which run into, I guess, at least the tens of millions of people, into the same camp as if they're Nazis. And that itself is an outrageous slander, even in a outrageous political season. But to the core, uh, he is no Nazi. For anyone to throw around the Hitler stuff, and it's been going on now, not just on Donald Trump, but it's been going on in American politics just before November, unfortunately, in many cases. But to elevate it to a point in which you're demonizing the President of the United States and his supporters as Nazis, that is just outrageous. And frankly, it just isn't true. And it befogs the real goal and the real need we have, which is that both for the president and for Joe Biden to unequivocally condemn hate groups on the far right, the white supremacists, the neo Nazis, bigots like Louis Farrakhan, and others on the left, some of whom are in the Democratic Party. We need the two leaders to step up and specifically condemn those groups and those kinds of statements. And when we talk about Hitler, we talk about the Nazis, whether you say, well, we meant only the 1930s or whatever. They had a plan, a racist plan, which they were able to eventually execute during World War II years into a genocide against the Jewish people. Now, you can say what you want about Donald Trump, but for starters, I was on the White House lawn and had a little bit to do with the moving things forward on the peace arena with Bahrain and a little bit with the UAE. I was there when the United States shepherded that amazing and historic move forward in terms of peace between two Arab countries and the state of Israel. I was there at the White House, no less what's a Hanukkah party, the last December, when the President of the United States signed an executive order protecting Jewish students on American campuses from anti-Semitism because Congress wouldn't act. So I don't have to go into the fact that his grandchildren are Jewish. His daughter is an Orthodox Jewess. His Secretary of State has been from day one of the most important protectors of religious freedoms for all around the world and has under his wing the special envoy at anti-Semitism. Just before the pandemic, I met for a half hour with the Attorney General of the United States, William Barr, on the spiking violent anti-Semitic acts in our country. To cast that administration and that leader in Hitler-like and Nazi-like terms is just an outrage. And it's also, it denigrates history, it denigrates memory, and it makes it more difficult to explain to young Americans why they should hate the Nazi symbol, why they should speak up when someone picks up that mantle and promotes Nazism or any other extremism, as you see going on all over the place in social media. We need, in order to energize the next generation, we have to educate them with the truth. And the fact that it came from a group that is a Jewish group, basically, shame on them. They made a terrible error. It should not be promoted any further. And I think we sort of need, if the politicians won't do it, and their focus, those folks pushing for the votes won't do it, then obviously groups like the Simon Wiesenthal Center will stand up, whether it comes from the Republicans or the Democrats. It's irrelevant for us, and try to draw a line and say, look, we cannot allow history and memory to be erased, and especially if it's about coming from a Jewish address, that's unconscionable.